Hello, welcome back to the channel. Before I begin, I wanted to quickly give a couple shoutouts. First is Timmy Let's Play for getting the animated background shown in this video. Second is Dynamon for voicing the mysterious and tough tribes, and Neb for showing me the Yo KaiWatch 2 spreadsheet. All their channels will be linked in the description. You'll probably notice long pauses in this video, and that's because I messed up during editing, and fixing that would have taken many hours. Anyway, let's begin. Now we will be starting off with the Brave Tribe, aka numbers 1 through 39. First off is Pandal, which is just a strength up. Same with Undi, his is just a strength up. And Tambo is also a strength up. Kadana sends back a little damage to enemy. Kadanana sends back some damage to enemies. Slash sends back some damage to enemies. Bushido, when defeated, all yokai in front recover a little HP. Shogun recovers adjacent ally's soul. Lion, strength plus. Lionheart increases chance of making a critical hit. Hisfoot, strength plus. Zaberka, strength plus. Snartle, strength plus. Machismo, strength plus. Minochi takes slightly less damage from fire attacks. Tublapa recovers HP when inspirited by an enemy. Slice and Rice, strength plus. Flamer Rice takes much less damage from fire attacks. Helmsman, strength plus. Reunite, strength plus. Corpton, strength plus. Mud Munch, when defeated, the enemy takes a little damage. Sergeant Burley, adjacent yokai get a slight strength boost. Blazion, attacks stronger after an ally is defeated. Quaken, attacks stronger after an ally is defeated. Zero, when defeated, the enemy takes damage. Chanson, increases chance of making a critical hit. Sheen, increases chance of making a critical hit. Snee, strength plus. Gleam, greatly increases chance of making a critical hit. Benki, attacks stronger after an enemy is defeated. B3 and K1, attacks stronger after an enemy is defeated. Tsushiyama, enemy's guard becomes a little less effective. Kapunki, strength plus. Beatler, all allies are less likely to loaf. Beetle, all allies are less likely to loaf. Cruncher, strength plus. Demuncher, greatly increases chance of making a critical hit. Devourer, greatly increases chance of making a critical hit. Now onto Dynamon with the mysterious and tough tribes.
Welcome back to Dynamon. I will now continue with the mysterious tribe. The first yokai of this tribe is Broken Umbrella, whose soul gem boosts the speed stat of adjacent yokai by a small amount. Pitapat's soul recovers HP by a medium amount after a turn. Snot-so-long's soul increases your water resistance by a small amount. Ducho and Iwana have the same soul, which increases your spirit stat by a little.
Hey there, Jordie here. So Dynamon forgot one of the yokai. I'll just quickly do that one. It was no more, I don't know how you pronounce it, with a spirit plus. I'm assuming it's a medium one. Alright, back to Dynamon.
While Ykwyd's soul increases the spirit stat by a medium amount. I don't recommend you to use soul gems boosting a single stat, like the improvement is just between 2 and 10, which is just not worth it at level 1. Wazard's soul increases your spirit stat by a small amount, while Hauzard's soul increases the spirit stat of adjacent yokai by a medium amount. Dumbcap is the next yokai of this tribe, whose soul gem boosts your spirit stat by a little, and Phase Off boosts all resistances with his soul. Lafalotta and Blips both boost the in-spirit defense by a little. Tattletale's soul restores HP of adjacent yokai by a little, while the same thing counts for her evolution Tattlecast and her Recolor's Cranny, just with a medium amount of restored HP instead of a small one. Q-Pistol and Casanova both increase the amount of XP one after a battle. Casanova just wins a few XP more. Kazanono's soul boosts their fire resistance by a medium amount. Sosori is the next on the list, whose soul boosts the spirit stat of adjacent yokai by a small amount, and his fusion, Bow Minus, improves the earth resistance by a medium amount. Smoglings and Smogmella's soul both refill the soul meter of adjacent yokai, it's just a bit stronger for Smogmella. Signable and Signeton both have souls which strengthen the light resistance, and again Signeton's boost is a bit stronger, and one yokai you should definitely not turn into a soul gem is Steady King, who has a soul which extends the duration of goods in spirits for your own yokai. His soul can also be used to create the Sparking Soul when fused with the Signeton soul. Master Odin's soul regenerates HP by a large amount. Valiant's soul boosts your light resistance by a medium amount. A Pelican's soul is quite special since it boosts your strength, but only when standing in the middle spot. Mirror Pose and Miracle's souls both have a return to sender effect concerning technical attacks and throw attacks back by a small amount, while the same effect is stronger for Miradoc's soul. Ilu's soul boosts your spirit stat, and Ilu's soul your speed stat, both by a medium amount. Alu's soul refills the soul meter for adjacent yokai by a little. SP's and Info's soul are the same and reduce the chance of getting spirited by opponents. Very Good Sir restores HP of adjacent yokai. Tengu's soul improves your wind resistance by a large amount, while the souls of Lengu, QB and Frosttail all boost your spirit stat by 45 points on level 10. Chimera and Kingmera both have a soul gem that boosts your lightning resistance by a large amount. The next tribe we will be covering is the Tough tribe. Terrapoda's soul increases the crit probability by a bit, so it's like a worse Dimancha soul. Duluma's and Darumacho's souls both increase your defense stat, it's just a bit more for Darumacho. Garuma's soul decreases the chance of getting inspirited. Watcher God's soul absorbs a few HP when dealing damage, and the soul gem of Bright Shrimp boosts your defense stat by a large amount. No-Go Cut increases your earth resistance. Mistank and Impasse both boost your defense stat by a large amount, while No Way only boosted a bit. Walden boosts your earth resistance by a lot. Rough Ref, Badude and Broth all throw some damage back to your op. It's just stronger for Badude and Broth. Armsman is the next yokai whose soul increases your defense stat, which is the case for many tough. Mimikin's soul increases your ice resistance by a bit.
Hey there, Jordie here. So Dynamon goes on to forget Lead Balloon, so I'll quickly read that one out. Sends back a little damage to enemies. Alright, back to Dynamon now.
Locate and Fidgefant refill the soul meter of adjacent yokai by a small amount. The same goes for Endurifant, but his effect is stronger. Toughfant boosts your water resistance by a medium amount.
So it turns out Dynamon indeed did not forget Lead Balloon, but he just placed him really far back. I don't know why he did that, but I've already edited in the part where I said that he did, so I'm not changing it.
Lead Balloon also has small attack countering. Zappery and Frazzle both increase your lightning resistance, the boost is stronger for Frazzle. Swelton boosts your defense stat by a large amount. Mad Mountain Soul boosts your ice resistance, Lava Lord your fire resistance, both by a medium amount. All Castilia's yokai have souls, giving you more elemental resistance. For Castilia's 3, these are Wind and Earth. For Castilia's 2, Ice and Fire. For Castilia's 1, Water and Lightning. And finally for Castilia's Max, Wind, Water and Ice. This effect is even better for Goldenyan's soul, which boosts your resistance against every element in the game. The next bunch of yokai I'm listing all have a stat boost of 45 at level 10. The souls of Robunyan, Dromp, Total Dude and Uba Gecko increase your defense stat by a lot. Swash Soul Gem will heal the allies in front when he dies.
So Dynamon forgot 3 other yokai again, so he's forgotten 5 yokai across everything, like all of across the mysterious and tough tribes. So that's pretty funny. Anyway, he forgot Rhinogon, enemy's guard becomes a little less effective. Rhinormus, enemy's guard becomes less effective. And Horn of Plenty, enemy's guard becomes less effective. Alright, say thank you to Dynamon, everybody, for voicing over the mysterious and tough tribes. And next is I think it's charming. Yeah, okay. Well, there you go. We'll see you there. Up next is the charming tribe, starting off with Blakely, Speed Plus. Dazabel takes slightly less damage from fire attacks. Ratel takes less damage from fire attacks. Skelabella takes less damage from water attacks. Caden slightly increases chance of dodging attacks. Cadeable increases chance of dodging attacks. Cincada increases chance of successful attack. Popsicle takes slightly less damage from ice attacks. Chihuahua takes much less damage from ice attacks. Swelteria takes much less damage from fire attacks. Jumbelina gradually refills Yokai's own soul meter. Boyclops slightly increases chance of successful attack. Jibanyan attacks stronger after an enemy is defeated. Thornyon, Speed Plus. Badnyon, Oran's ultimate moves are more powerful. Buchinyon greatly ups enemies' likelihood to drop items. Warcapper recovers a little HP when loafing. Apak takes much less damage from water attacks. Sapio takes much less damage from water attacks. Komasan, Speed Plus. Komain, Speed Plus. Komajiro, adjacent yokai get a slight speed boost. Komaiga, adjacent yokai get a speed boost. Baku has slightly increased amount of HP drained. Bakula has increased amount of own HP drained. Waper, receive a little more money after a battle. Griselda takes slightly less damage from water attacks. Naked Speed, Speed Plus. Shmoopy, get a few more experience points after a battle. Pinky Poo, receive more experience points after a battle. Pokeevil, Speed Plus. Harry Berry, receive more experience points after a battle. Frostina, Speed Plus. Blizzaria, Speed Plus. Demona, Speed Plus. Fox Kappa, get a spirit boost when front and center. Tigapa takes much less damage from water attacks. Masanyada greatly increases chance of dodging attacks. Up next is the Heartful tribe. Winston slightly ups enemies' likelihood to drop items. Grubsnitch gradually recovers own HP. Wiglin slightly increases chance of dodging attacks. Kalpakabana gets a speed boost when front and center. Stepper slightly increases chance of dodging attacks. Wraith increases chance of dodging attacks. Hungramps gradually recovers own HP. Hungorge recovers own HP. Grandpa, when defeated, the enemy takes a little damage. Tungus gradually recovers adjacent allies' HP. Nurse Tungus quickly recovers adjacent allies' HP. Senma takes slightly less damage from earth attacks. Mr. Senma takes less damage from earth attacks. Palisol sends back a little damage from skill attack to enemy. Scarisol sends back some damage from skill attack to enemy. Lodo, receive a little more money after a battle. Superhero, receive more experience points after a battle. Chipper, receive more money after a battle. Nomi, receive a little more money after a battle. Hi Nomi, receive much more money after a battle. Enderfly has slightly reduced chance of being inspirited. Enderfly has slightly reduced chance of being inspirited. Betterfly has greatly reduced chance of being inspirited. Peplion quickly recovers own HP. Predictable, increases chance of dodging attacks. Smashable, get way more experience points after a battle. Donchan, adjacent yokai, get a slight boost to all stats. Rayolite, gets a small spirit boost when front and center. Happy gradually recovers adjacent allies' HP. Reverser, recovers adjacent allies' HP. Reverser, takes much less damage from wind attacks. All Saint Trick, recovers adjacent allies' HP. All Fortune, gradually recovers adjacent allies' soul. Roland, adjacent yokai get a slight defense boost. Doubles, takes less damage from earth attacks. Papa Bolt, takes much less damage from lightning attacks. Uncle Infinite, adjacent yokai get a strength boost. Mama Aura, quickly recovers adjacent allies' HP. Auntie Heart, recovers adjacent allies' HP. Kirin, quickly recovers own HP. Unikirin, quickly recovers own HP. Up next is the Shady Tribe. We'll start with Leodoni, takes less damage from wind attacks. Minomi, takes less damage from wind attacks. Ache, power of critical attacks is high. Pain, power of critical attacks is high. Agon, own ultimate moves are more powerful. Wide Awake has slightly increased amount of HP drained. All Nighter, drains some HP from all adjacent yokai. Herbiboy, all allies are less likely to loaf. Carnaboy, gets a small strength boost when front and center. Buzz, absorbs a little HP when an attack is successful. Mosquivil, absorbs some HP when an attack is successful. Scritchy, absorbs some HP when an attack is successful. Dimmy, slightly increases chance of dodging attacks. Blandon, increases chance of dodging attacks. Null, greatly increases chance of dodging attacks. Suspicione, more susceptible to being inspirited. Tantroni, more susceptible to being inspirited. Contrarione, own ultimate moves are slightly more powerful. Hyderbat, absorbs a little HP when an attack is successful. Adobabat, absorbs some HP when an attack is successful. Belfry, has increased amount of own HP drained. Yoink, slightly ups enemies' likelihood to drop items. Gimme, speed plus. Come on, speed plus. You do it, gets a small speed boost when front and center. Count Zapaway, takes slightly less damage from wind attacks. Tyrat, more susceptible to being inspirited. Tangaloom, takes less damage from wind attacks. Nerd, greatly increases chance of successful attacks. Snobbity, drains some HP from all adjacent yokai. Slimeamander, gets a strength boost when front and center. Dracunion, absorbs a lot of HP when an attack is successful. Negasus, sends back a little damage from skill attack to enemy. Nefarious, greatly increases chance of dodging attacks. Teamy Devil, strength plus. Belzebulge, spirit plus. Count Cavity, power of critical attacks is high. Eyesore, greatly increases chance of successful attack. Isla, greatly increases chance of successful attack. Greasel, own ultimate moves are a lot more powerful. Evil, more susceptible to landing in spirits. Wobblewalk, when defeated, the enemy takes damage. Up next is the Eerie Tribe. Starting off with Cough Cough, sends back a little damage to enemy. Hurchin sends back a little damage to enemy. Droplet takes less damage from water attacks. Drizzle takes much less damage from water attacks. Slush takes much less damage from water attacks. All Hail takes much less damage from ice attacks. Gush, receive more money after a battle. Pickpocket has slightly increased amount of HP drained. Robbing you gets a small speed boost when front and center. Rockabilly absorbs a little HP when an attack is successful. Squeaky takes slightly less damage from ice attacks. Rory, enemy's guard becomes less effective. Boohoo takes slightly less damage from wind attacks. Flumpy increases chance of successful attack. Screak, Spirit Plus. Mangy Mutt, adjacent yokai get a slight strength boost. Multi-Mutt, adjacent yokai get a strength boost. Cerberus takes much less damage from earth attacks. Fergus recovers HP when inspirited by an enemy. Ferdinand gradually refills yokai's own soul meter. Gnosis, adjacent yokai get a slight spirit boost. Desmeralda, defense plus. Chatterley recovers a little HP when loafing. Nagatha recovers a little HP when loafing. Papa Windbag gets light boost to stats when front and center. Bentova, more likely to dodge Saltament moves. Cheek Squeak gradually refills yokai's own soul meter. Cut and Cheese increases chance of successful attack. Toiletta drains a little HP from all adjacent yokai. Foiletta drains some HP from all adjacent yokai. Sproink takes much less damage from fire attacks. Compunza has greatly reduced chance of being inspirited. Lamidean has greatly reduced chance of being inspirited. Grumples absorbs some HP when an attack is successful. Everfor absorbs a lot of HP when an attack is successful. Eterna absorbs a lot of HP when an attack is successful. Insomni has increased amount of own HP drained. Sandy has increased amount of HP drained. Arachnus takes much less damage from earth attacks. Arachnia takes much less damage from earth attacks. Up next is the Slippery Tribe. Starting off with Cricky. Enemy's guard becomes a little less effective. Noko, receive more money after a battle. Blue Minoko, receive much more money after a battle. Panda Noko, get way more experience points after a battle. Snaggly, adjacent yokai get a slight defense boost. Winona, adjacent yokai get a defense boost. Heal, defense plus. Krunga, defense plus. Anaconda, defense plus. Fish Pickable takes slightly less damage from water attacks. Ragion takes less damage from water attacks. Tunatic takes less damage from water attacks. Flushbuck takes slightly less damage from wind attacks. Vacuum Memory takes much less damage from wind attacks. Iowig, when defeated, the enemy takes a little damage. Biowig, when defeated, the enemy takes damage. Draggy, get a few more experience points after a battle. Dragon Lord recovers HP once when close to defeat. Azure Dragon recovers HP once when close to defeat. Mermaiden, adjacent yokai get a slight boost to all stats. Myrmidana, adjacent yokai get a boost to all stats. Mermother, adjacent yokai get a boost to all stats. Lady Longneck, when inspirited, positive effects last longer. Daze, more likely to dodge Saltament moves. Confuse, more likely to dodge Saltament moves. Chummer, recovers some HP when loafing. Shrook, gets a small defense boost when front and center. Spemp, has reduced chance of being inspirited. Almi, has greatly reduced chance of being inspirited. Bablong, ups enemies' likelihood to drop items. Bananos, greatly ups enemies' likelihood to drop items. Dragon, Spirit Plus. SV Snagajag takes less damage from all elemental attacks. Copperlead takes much less damage from fire attacks. Cyanate greatly ups enemies' likelihood to drop items. Slithereth greatly ups enemies' likelihood to drop items. Venoct quickly refills Yokai's own soul meter. Shadow Venoct quickly refills Yokai's own soul meter. Up next is the legendary sub-tribe, I suppose. Shogunyan, power of critical attacks is high. Komashura attacks much stronger after an enemy is defeated. Gilgaros, strength plus. Spoilerina, greatly increases chance of dodging attacks. Elder Bloom, quickly recovers adjacent allies' HP. Professor, more susceptible to landing in spirits. Dandoodle, get way more experience points after a battle. Slurpin, has greatly reduced chance of being inspirited. Gemnyans, Safinyan, adjacent yokai get a spirit boost. Eminyan, recovers adjacent ally soul. Rubinyan, adjacent yokai get a strength boost. Topinyan, adjacent yokai get a defense boost. Dynamon, adjacent yokai get a speed boost. Fruitnyans, Melonyan, when defeated, all yokai in front will recover HP. Oranyan, recovers adjacent ally soul. Kiwinyan, gets a defense boost when front and center. Grapenyan, more susceptible to being inspirited. Strawberrynyan, takes much less damage from fire attacks. Watermelonyan, strength plus. Robot yokai, Robocat, enemy's guard becomes less effective. Robocoma, spirit plus. Robogramps, recovers HP once when close to defeat. Roboma, when defeated the enemy takes damage. Robonoko, receive much more money after a battle. Robodragi, own ultimate moves are a lot more powerful. Jibanyan clones, Wandanyan, when inspirited, positive effects last longer. Robanyan F, deals damage back to foe while guarding. Sailonyan, quickly recovers adjacent allies' HP. Machonyan, quickly recovers adjacent allies' soul. Hovenyan, gets a strength boost when front and center. Darknyan, more likely to dodge ultimate moves. Jibakoma, power of critical attacks is high. Jetnyan, gets a speed boost when front and center. Next up is the Wicked Tribe. Unfairy, more susceptible to being inspirited. Unkind, drain some HP from all adjacent yokai. Untidy, defense plus. Unpleasant, has increased amount of own HP drained. Unkeen, strength plus. Grublapa, recovers HP when inspirited by an enemy. Mudmunch, when defeated the enemy takes damage. Bad Smeller, recovers adjacent ally soul. Mad Kappa, gets a spirit boost when front and center. Shamasol, sends back a little damage from skill attack to enemy. No Mine, receive a little more money after a battle. Defectable, increases chance of dodging attack. Feargus, recovers HP when inspirited by an enemy. Scare Maiden, adjacent yokai get a slight boost to all stats. Wrongneck, when inspirited, positive effects last longer. Next up is the Traveler Coin yokai. Starting off with Grumpus Khan, enemy's guard becomes a little less effective. Gropus Khan, enemy's guard becomes a little less effective. Slumberhog, gradually refills yokai's own soul meter. Snortlehog, strength plus. Panja Pupil, speed plus. Panja Pro, speed plus. Samariel, recovers a little HP when loafing. Time Killer, recovers some HP when loafing. Takoya Kid, sends back a little damage to enemy. Takoya King, sends back some damage to enemy. Dank Sand, takes slightly less damage from earth attacks. No Sand Q, takes much less damage from earth attacks. Sumodon, quickly recovers adjacent ally soul. Ykwyd, quickly recovers adjacent ally soul. Whateverist, takes slightly less damage from fire attacks. What option? Takes much less damage from fire attacks. Happy Cane, gradually recovers adjacent allies' HP. Starry Cane, quickly recovers adjacent allies' HP. Next is the other Psychic Spectres exclusives, except none of these yokai have souls, like you can't turn them into soul gems. For some reason, I imagine level 5 just forgot about it or ran out of time. So I'll read out these yokai that did not get soul gems. Snoddle, Maximus N, Maximus K, Jibanyan S, Chromasan S, Chromagiro S, Dark Ykwyd, Illuminoct, Gargoros, Ogrelos, and Orcanos. Oh my god, I did that in one breath. Okay. Well, that's the video. I sincerely hope you enjoyed, and I still have so long to edit. Oh my god, somebody help me, please.